I'm not going to be able to advance it. So everyone, if you haven't met Turney yet, this is Turney Maurer. He's taken over from Kirsten Gardner in handling all the Central America properties. I've known Turney for a long time. He used to work at a tour operator in Austin called Paragon Expeditions and reached out to me about Galapagos and other things and did a bunch of bookings with the properties. So I knew him kind of from the tour operator side. He came on a bunch of fam trips. This is us in the Galapagos quite a few years ago. And he's then worked for Latin Excursions, a few other people. And then when Kirsten decided she wanted to start her own travel company, I called up Turney, and you would like literally just been laid off from your last job like 10 minutes prior. And I said, you want to work with me? And you were fired up. And then Turney spent all of January around Costa Rica, and I'm stoked to have him working with me now. And yeah, so I'm going to kind of let Turney do this presentation. First, just a little overview. If you guys are new to Clark Atula representation, these are all the properties in South America that we represent, and then also all the properties here in Central America on this screen. But we are going to talk today about Pasha, or I'm going to let Turney talk about Pasha, and I'll jump in and say some stuff. So why don't you flick to the Pasha screen. Let me just talk about this initially, because I've had some people in the industry saying, you know what I represent. The properties all kind of have common themes there. People doing tourism differently in a different way in an area kind of besides the norm, more off the beaten path. They're all individually or family owned. This is the first villa that we're working with. And some people have said, I don't know, how does this fit into your portfolio? And go to the next one. So most of you know Cayuga Collection. We've been working with them as we started in Central America. So Cayuga Collection is a hotel management company focusing on sustainable luxury. And they have Jicaro in Nicaragua, Senda Monteverde, Pasha. No, go back. Sorry. Zach's telling me my phone's dinging. I'm not sure if that's my phone. It's my wife. But so Cayuga is actually managing Pasha. And where this fits in is that Pasha is actually owned by a Turkish guy named Sem. And he studied hospitality management in Switzerland and was working for some pretty well-known luxury hotel brands in Turkey. And then he started a software company, which brought him to the US. Grew a very successful software company out of Minneapolis and just sold it, kind of cashed out his software company. He went and bought a lot of land in Santa Teresa in 2014. And has a vision for building the new world's hospitality school. Most of the hospitality management schools in the world, you think about France, you think about Switzerland, Spain. In the US, we have Cornell, which has a great hospitality management school, but his idea is to actually create a hospitality management school in Santa Teresa, Costa Rica. And it's going to be tied to Pasha. This is Pasha, which we're going to be talking about today, the Pasha Beachfront estate. This is Pasha 1. He has so much other land he bought up dating back to 2014 in Santa Teresa that he's going to have Pasha 2, Pasha 3, Pasha 4, Pasha 5, which are going to be similar luxury, but different size villas and stuff. So his idea is that this new hospitality school is going to be focused on sustainable hospitality, kind of not old school hospitality management. This is going to be the first new school of hospitality management focusing on sustainability for a new world, and the first one that's located like in a rural place in Costa Rica. So we're really stoked to begin this collaboration with Sem in the connection with Cayuga Collection with Pasha. So that's my little intro, and I'm going to pass it over to Turney. So take it away. Tell us about Pasha.
All right, everyone. Again, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure getting to know all these hotels you represent in Costa Rica. And yeah, let's start off with Pasha. Just so you guys know, we'll start here. I'll tell you a little bit Pasha, and then going to tell you more about Arenas del Mar and Kura, and then another property we represent called Lapa Rios, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But just for now, here is a map of Costa Rica. Here are the 2 international flights you can arrive at to get to Pasha, and Tambor is the domestic airport that you will come to. So it's, pretty easy to get here in terms of logistics, as long as you can get a flight with one of the domestic airlines. Santa is one that we work with regularly, and you can either book a seat or you can charter an entire plane. There's also a few different companies, Aero Caribe and Green Nature Airways in Costa Rica, who you can also charter flights from. And some of the planes, like with Aero Caribe, can seat 2 to 4 people. And then bigger ones like this, you can charter the whole thing, a 12 series Cessna. So a few different options. And then Pasha, we have 2 Land Rover Defenders that are accessible to travelers. And it's a 45-minute drive from the Town Board Airport to Pasha. And if you want to skip out on that, you can get a helicopter. We have a helipad about 5 minutes away from the property. And here is an overview of Santa Teresa. 2016, it was named by New York Times the new Tulum, for better or worse, but it does capture the essence of a new town that is becoming popular and has a lot of activities to do. Very beautiful, the beach, and kind of a new vibe that people are trying to capture. And I say this to segue into all the celebrities that are making their way to Santa Teresa. So Tom and Giselle, they're living in Santa Teresa part-time. I guess he wasn't having enough fun with retirement down there, so he joined NFL again. We won't be seeing him as much, but anyways, Diplo, he was there not too long ago, I think a few weeks before Clark and I arrived, actually. He did a concert on the beach, and people were flocking to see him, and there was just a big party on the beach. And you see Leo right here, and also Jack Dorsey, who actually purchased Latitude 10, which was a property that Cayuga represented prior to working with Pasha. So let's get into the actual property. Here's an overview. It sleeps there's 10 bedrooms total. And as you can see, there's 2 casitas here, the main house, and then their casita up here. So sorry about that. We'll walk you through the right here. Here's the entry. The kitchen is phenomenal. There's a long couch, TV if people want to watch movies. It's open air, the whole property, but you can close this off, and there's air conditioning inside, but pretty much year round at Pasha, the weather is suitable. So here's the back area where you'll probably spend 99% of your time. Plenty of places to lounge, long dinner table, pool, a couple palapas, and these beds basically dug out into the floor. So don't sleep here. You might roll over into the pool, but you'll spend a lot of your time just deciding where you want to hang out for the day. And here is some more areas of the hangout. Fireplace while you're waiting on dinner, just enjoying the essence. And here's Jen, our GM, getting ready to go surf for the day. And of course, watching a sunset by the pool, in the pool, not something you can do every day, at least for me. But yeah, more areas to relax and hang out. So let's talk about Jen, our general manager. She was actually the GM for Latitude 10, which I just mentioned, was purchased by Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter. And she has a lot of experience in working in the travel industry. She went to school in Spain and also the US, and worked for 4 seasons in Boston. So she's a seasoned veteran, and she really cares about the sustainability and whole culture of Santa Teresa. So that's why she chose to work with Pasha, because we're someone doing it right. And that's what's really special with Cayuga. So you get a full staff of 11 here at Pasha, chefs, servers, guides, you name it. And here we go into the rooms. So as I mentioned before, there's 4 rooms within the main house, all very similar. Cem, the owner, as Clark mentioned, actually brought a lot of the linens from Turkey. So you'll see a lot of really chic, kind of relaxed design. Outdoor shower, which is a staple in Costa Rica. So you get the gist of it. And here you go to see the other rooms. So we've already covered the main house, the 4 different rooms, the back area, the pool. And so here are 2 of the casitas. And then one more kind of hidden up here in the trees. But they all have a plunge pool and 2 bedrooms. So here's the one closest to the beach. You can see the main area over here, the plunge pool, and the 2 rooms. They're not together, they're actually separate, and each have their own bathroom. So again, plenty of space. You can walk right out, jump in the plunge pool, make your way to the beach. The whole property is yours. So when it comes to food, breakfast is included every day, and we also have a full board option. Basically, it's $20 per person for lunch or $30 per person for dinner. That's what we have it right now. Could change, but it works nicely in case you want to go explore Santa Teresa and try some of the different food options. There's a lot to do and see in town. So that can give you an option to give a little mix of both, eat everything at the house or go into town. But personally, it's a treat to be at the house and eat with these cooks. They're from Santa Teresa and they really care. When we were there, the chef actually came out and said she cooked us her mother's recipe, and it was a very heartfelt, cool thing. So
Yeah, let me just jump in here real quick, Turney. I wanted to bring a couple things I was thinking about. One thing Santa Teresa, the town itself, is quite a scene nowadays. We talked about all these celebrities moving down to Santa Teresa. There's tons of restaurants, there's tons of shops, surf shops, everything on the beach. Pasha is about 5 minutes north of downtown Santa Teresa in an area called Playa Hermosa. And so it's going into town, it just feels a little bit like stressful almost. And when you come up here, it's super tranquil. And doing the meals like that, of course, you're gonna have breakfast at the villa, but people do want to go into town. It's kind of a scene in town. So we decided to leave the lunches and dinners separate. Jennifer's got the hookups with all the owners of the restaurant. So if people decide late afternoon they want to go eat at like Koji's, which is the most popular sushi place in town, often hard to get a table at, Jennifer's on it. She's got the contacts to get the guest in for dinner. But it's a very relaxed setup. If people just decide, I don't feel like going in, can we just do lunch here? As long as they give the staff like hour and a half anticipation, they'll just do lunch for them there, or do lunch for them, or do dinner for them. So we kind of leave that as an option. If people want to purchase a full meal plan ahead of time, they can do that. Or otherwise they can just kind of pick and choose while they're there if they want to eat at the villa or want to go out for it.
Thanks, Clark. Yeah, it makes it a really good option, as I said, to be able to explore the town or enjoy the luxuries of Pasha. So here, let me go back for a moment. There's just a few more photos of the dinner table, but here's the best part of Pasha. When you walk out to the beach, you look to your left, and this is towards Santa Teresa. So you can see it's not developed, it's wild. And if you want to get over to the more popular beach, you can, but you have a really amazing opportunity here just to relax and get the best of the beach in Santa Teresa. Being closer to Playa Hermosa is a huge advantage because one, you can hang out in tide pools when the tide goes low. As you can see, it's a really unique part of Costa Rica. You won't see this many other places. People hanging out. It's a huge surf destination and less crowds at Playa Hermosa. So really what it comes down to is you have the best of both worlds. You can go to the more popular side, Santa Teresa. You get all of the restaurants and the shops and the things that make it the new Tulum. Or you can walk to the right of the beach and be at Playa Hermosa, where it'll be surfers and people just hanging out, enjoying their day. So another great addition to Pasha is Douglas. He is from Kabuya. It's a nearby town, and he will take you in these wonderful Land Rover Defenders to explore the Nicoya Peninsula. So a lot of people talk about Santa Teresa and how it's becoming a huge destination for surfers and digital nomads and celebrities, but no one talks about the really unique region of this Nicoya Peninsula that you can explore. So you can he'll take you to Cabo Blanco, which is actually the first national park in all of Costa Rica and the first in Central America. And it's crazy to think about this because there's so many different national parks in Costa Rica that you can explore. For example, Manuel Antonio, but Cabo Blanco, it's less explored than those. So you'll avoid the crowds, but you'll still get a lot of different wildlife to see, and you'll actually go through the dry forest. It's one of the only dry forests in the entire world, besides Australia and a few different destinations. So it's a really cool opportunity to be able to have the time at Pasha to yourself, explore and relax however much you want, or hop in the car with Douglas and really get that adventure and experience of the lesser explorer side of Costa Rica. And here's an example of one of the tours. You can go to Maurer, a fishing village where Douglas knows everyone, and you can actually, a lot of the fish you'll eat at Pasha is probably purchased here, farm to table, take it right to the house and mix sashimi, nigiri. And of course, yoga. We provide optional lessons. We can have a instructor come to the house and have that experience. And we're also working on building a small yoga studio back here. So we'll be able to introduce that in the future. So there's a little more about Pasha, and I'll let Clark add some final remarks.
Yeah, why don't you, I think the next one we have the rates on there as well. So this, one thing, this is a full buyout. We don't, there are the 10 bedrooms, there's the 4 rooms in the main house, and then there's the 3 casitas with 2 bedrooms, but this is a full buyout. It's a fully staffed, full buyout villa. I think just from my perspective, when Turney and I were there, we kind of went around and looked at all the other hotels in Santa Teresa. We looked at the other available villas in town. And with the popularity of Santa Teresa right now, of everybody wanting to go there, there's nothing that compares to Pasha in the area in terms of villas or hotels. The demand there is massive. Even when we were there for a week, I mean, this is a brand new construction. They had just finished when we were visiting for a week. We had like probably 6 different people coming through that had come to Santa Teresa. They had booked some other villa, booked some hotel, or they were coming into town and had no space, that were coming by just like wanting to book this place on the spot. It is pricey. So, I mean, in the green season, kind of May through October, minimum $8,000 a night for the full buyout. And then holiday season, which now is fully booked for 2022 already. It's still available for 2023 is $17,500 a night. So it is another tier. I mean, this is not a typical hotel. This is great for multiple families that want to get away together. We do have some families of 4 that have booked out the whole thing for a week just to have that. But again, there's nothing like this in Santa Teresa at the moment. And this is the first of 4 different Pashas that are going to be in the area. There is a 5-night minimum during the green season and the high season, 7 nights for the holiday season. And yeah, so it's pretty popular. It's been amazing putting this out there, how quickly the bookings are rolling in for this. One, because a lot of people, they like having a fully staffed villa. There's a lot of villa rentals in Costa Rica, which are just, book it and there you have it, but you don't have the full staff on site. Going back to that guy, Douglas, I mean, he is the on-site experience manager, the guide, and he's super cool guy. I mean, going out with him, it's like you drive around, he'll show you where he went to, preschool, and show you the villages and tell you stories about this area, how it's developed over the last 20 years, knows everybody. It's just a real insider experience with them. And then he can organize, people want to go ATV, they want to go waterfall rappelling, they want to go zip lining, they want to do whatever. Like Douglas is there 24/7 at the villa to kind of take care of guests if they want to go out and do any excursions. So this is a super unique option in the area. Jill's asking, yeah, I think you might have come in late, Jill. There's more Pashas coming. Yeah, this is Pasha 1. There's going to be up to like 5 different Pashas there, and a hospitality school in Santa Teresa. All right, Turney. So the idea now, after talking a little bit about Pasha, and if you have any questions, the stuff that I didn't cover, just pop them in the chat thing. We'll get to them. But what we wanted to do is, obviously Pasha is, at a different price point. It's a super premium luxury villa that sleeps up to 26. But we're just going to go quickly down through the other properties on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica that we represent, and kind of talk about like who they're ideal for. Obviously, Pasha is ideal for people that have a lot of money, that want that, total exclusivity and privacy, or big groups of people traveling together. And then we're going to go through these other ones, starting with Arenas del Mar, which is really the ideal family destination.
Thanks, Clark. And to confirm that Arenas del Mar is the ideal place for a family to visit in Costa Rica, we were actually just awarded the #1 hotel in the world for families by Condé Nast Traveler in 2022. So that's very exciting for us and shows how hard we've worked to make it like that. Here's Manuel Antonio. So you were just at Pasha. In the rare case that maybe a family would want to visit Arenas del Mar after Pasha, best thing to do is fly back to San Jose, and then it's about 2.5, 3 hour drive to Arenas del Mar, or you can fly into Quepos. So here's the view of Arenas del Mar. And before I get into anything else, it's important to understand the wonderful geography placement of this hotel. In Manuel Antonio, there's not really anywhere you can stay that will give you beach access. And as you know, in Costa Rica, all of the beaches are public. So we have a area called Playitas, and it's down here. We'll get more into it, but understand this geographic barrier that creates Playitas into a private little area where people can hang out. And so this is where it's really ideal for families. And of course, the other hotels up here, you'll get a much more superior view of the sunset. And here's Manuel Antonio Beach. So here are the receptionists. It's all open air, really fun to walk in and be invited. And here's one of the Ocean Breeze suites, higher up on the hill, not down at Playitas. So great place to catch a sunset. The rooms are really relaxing. You'll see sloths with babies in trees, and capuchins in trees. You really can't get enough of the animals here. It's one of the reasons we call this hotel Costa Rica 101. Families can come here and get a little taste of everything. The beauty of this hotel really is captured within the view of the ocean and the jungle around it. I mean, anywhere you'll look, it's a phenomenal point of view. This is all Manuel Antonio National Park right here. So fun to go explore that. You can actually swim at the different beaches as long as you go before 4 p.m., I believe, or 3. But make sure that you always send people to visit Manuel Antonio National Park first thing in the morning because it gets very packed. But it is worth seeing. So again, here's more of the beach. You can just spend all day wandering around, exploring, relaxing by the beach, ordering drinks, and letting the kids run around. So at Playitas, they only serve lunch, but they do occasional fun dinners. Like they'll do a ceviche night or like a cheeseburger night, different types of things, but you can have lunch here every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner served at the main house. And here's more Playitas. Order some drinks, let your kids run around safely, have time of their life in the sand. Here's the classic ring swing. It's common to see influencers coming here pretty much just to get a photo of that. It's one of the coolest things you'll see of Rios del Mar. I don't know why it's such an attraction, but everyone wants to sit in the circle swing. And as far as activities go for families, this is one thing that's great about Rios del Mar. They cycle out different activities within the hotel every day. Obviously, there's so much to do around it, and we'll get to there. But for example, this day, you've got yoga in the morning. You can go Spanish lessons in the afternoon and have a ceviche station in the evening. So you can spend as much time really on the property, enjoying the different amenities as you want. And it's definitely worth getting out as well. So here's some of the excursions: yoga, surfing with the kids, visiting Manuel Antonio National Park with the naturalists. This is a TT monkey, and more cooking classes. You can go do the hanging bridge tour, hike to a waterfall. Really Costa Rica 101. Anything that you can think of doing in Costa Rica: jungle tours, surfing, whitewater rafting, zip lining, animal viewing, cooking classes, Spanish classes, yoga, you name it. It can be done at Rios del Mar. So that's what makes it such a special place for families. It's something for everyone. And the number one thing really that I took away from going to Rios del Mar is the beach access, because Manuel Antonio is a very crowded town. It's become very popular to tourists from around the world. But once you arrive at the property in Rios del Mar, let me go back to a photo real quick, just get your mind at the right place. I mean, you really have the only beach access. So this is all Manuel Antonio National Park, or a public beach. And you see there's no hotels over there, just Rios del Mar. So you really escape the hustle and bustle of Manuel Antonio, and Rios del Mar allows you to fully embrace the beauty of it. So that's one thing to take away and keep in mind. So let's move on to Kura. It is not a family hotel. Kura is adults only, and there's only 8 suites available to visit. So let's go back to the map. It is about 4-hour drive from San Jose by plane to Quepos. Quepos right here. It's about a 20-minute flight, then 1-hour drive. And then private transfer to from Lapa Rios, which is down here on Osa Peninsula, you'll see next. It's 2.5-hour drive, and then helicopter from San Jose, 40 minutes, and there's a helicopter pad right near. So that's one option, but it's important to understand the geography of this region as well. This is Isla Ballenas National Park, the whale's tail, as you will, in the formation of a whale's tail. And it just happens to be that this is one of the best places in the world to see humpback whales migrating through. Typically from September to November is the best time, but it's pretty ironic that in this region that you whale watch, there's also a big whale's tail. So the hotel is up here, and you can see the view from the other side. This is at high tide, so you can barely see the whale's tail. But if you go down there, it's pretty crazy because you have a beach at both sides. Not something you see every day. And the magic of Kura is when you get there, you don't want to leave. Everywhere you look, it's the most amazing, breathtaking view you've seen, and the food is phenomenal. So since it's adults only 8 suites, it's typically honeymooners and couples. And so very laid back pace. The food is amazing. It's very intimate at night. They have lovely lighting throughout the whole property. And this is the master suite. And I like to tell people this is probably the best hotel room in all of Costa Rica. The shower is massive, 2 shower heads. You could probably park a Fiat in there if you really wanted to, but there's so much space. And it's actually the only one with its own plunge pool as well. Here's one of the infinity rooms, similar, but no plunge pool. You saw the same views, massive shower, big space. And here's the plunge pool I was looking for. This is at the master suite, and there's only one master suite. So all the other ones are infinity suites. And here's more of the chilled plunge pool where you can see Isla Ballenas. And of course, the sunsets, you really don't want to leave here, but in case you do, we can set up a lovely picnic down at the beach, and you can explore the ballenas. You can go rappelling if you want. There's also Nayuaca waterfall nearby, one of the biggest waterfalls in all of Costa Rica. Best to visit that from July to November when there's more water. And another thing to note for Kura is Caño Island is an attraction, and same with Corcovado National Park. Mostly all the tours there are public, so you have to get on a boat with a lot of people. But Kura can set up a very unique private experience to take couples to Caño Island and Corcovado for the day privately. So it's a very exclusive excursion that they can offer. So let's move on to Lapa Rios. This one's for wildlife and adventure lovers. And this is one cool thing about the 3 properties that I've just mentioned. It's a little something different for everyone. This, I would say, combines best with Arenas del Mar because it is family friendly, but not really focused for families. I'd say more focused for animal lovers because I'll get to that in a moment. But let me explain how to get there.
Turney, real quick, I just wanted to make a point because I think so many people are super familiar with Lapa Rios Lodge. I mean, it was like one of the first and original eco lodges in the Americas, and probably the most well-known and cherished one in Costa Rica. Lapa Rios used to be managed by Cayuga, which was the hotel management company for all the previous hotels we're talking about, including Pasha. But Buena Wilderness Lodges is a new name, which is actually the name for Pequari. If you're familiar with Pequari Lodge, the raft in, raft out luxury lodge, it was called Pequari Group. And over the kind of pre-pandemic and during the pandemic, they acquired a bunch of properties in Costa Rica, including Lapa Rios. So now Lapa Rios is owned and operated by the same people who own and operate Pequari Lodge. They've just rebranded as Buena Wilderness Lodges, and they also own and operate Tortuga Lodge and Gardens and Tortuguero National Park, which if you're going to join us tomorrow to talk about the Caribbean coast itineraries, we're going to do that. But people are like still a bit confused in the industry with Lapa Rios, knowing it's there, but not understanding what Boena is. So I just wanted to clarify that Boena is the new name for the Pequari Group, and the Pequari Group now owns and operates Lapa Rios and Tortuga Lodge and Gardens.
Thank you for that, Clark. Yeah, it's very important to understand the transition that occurred, but don't let it fool you by any chance. Lapa Rios is better than ever, and still hosting the same lovely factors that it did before. So to get here, San Jose to Puerto Jimenez, it's about a 40-minute flight, and that's the easiest way to get here if you're coming from San Jose. But it's also a really lovely drive if you're at Kura or up in Manuel Antonio, and you have you rented a car maybe, or you have a private vehicle take you all the way into Puerto Jimenez. It's a really remote region of Costa Rica right here, so you won't see many cars, and you'll get to discover kind of a new region. But if you do fly from Puerto Jimenez, Lapa Rios has a little office right at the airport, and they'll have one of the guides take you to Lapa Rios on a dirt road for about 45 minutes. And so, yeah, the lovely thing about Osa Peninsula is it might be a tiny little geographic piece of our world, but it hosts almost 3% of our planet's biodiversity, which is really something spectacular. You can see Playa Pan Dulce down here, and the hotel Lapa Rios is all along this little U-shaped corridor. So every room is a really spectacular view. Here's an overview of the entry, the pool, the reception hall, and the restaurant. So you can kind of dive in there and see what it looks like as you enter. And then as you keep walking through the property, the pool, and then the ocean, sometimes you'll see whales migrating through here. We actually saw them in January, and the guides were flabbergasted because I guess that never happens. And here's outside of the bar area, right by the pool where you can eat, and a little deck where you can eat as well. So one thing about Lapa Rios that's unique as well is many of the staff members are women, the manager, Maurer, and a lot of the cooks and staff. So they're very focused on, bringing more women to work in the travel industry, which is lovely to see. And the food's all farm to table, of course, like all the other properties you represent. And let's keep on continuing. So you just saw the pool and everything. And this area, if you keep walking past the pool, you'll get to this canopy walkway. And this leads you to each hotel room. So here's a scenic view. And all the bungalows are located along the right from the get-go. So here's a better view. You were just at the pool, walk down through that path, and then you'll find the bungalows. And it's important to note that if you've been to Lapa Rios in the past, while it was part of Cayuga, all of the hotel rooms were bungalows. So they've actually added the villas and the Premier Villa and the Lapa Villa. So we'll get there, but it's important to know kind of how it's set up. And just on to flip back, if you are staying at the Lapa Villa, it's quite a hike, as you can see, to get all the way back up to the reception hall. And that's where you begin all the tours. So there's a road from here to here. And if you don't want to walk, we can have someone come pick you up whenever you'd like. So that's a good option to note. So let's go through the bungalows. These are the original rooms that were at the property, and they are still sustained. They're open air. They don't have air conditioning, so that's one thing to note. But they do have ceiling fans and a fan that plugs in, so you can kind of create a whirlwind of wind if you're staying there. There's 2 Premier Villas, so these are the 2 Premier Villas. They don't have the plunge pool, but there's a lot of space. So you have a massive deck and a phenomenal view, and the sun rises right across over Golfito. So the Premier Villas, they do have a living room, but it's attached. It's not a separate room, and massive closing doors with screens and big ceiling fans. And now it's not photoed, but they recently got these massive fans that go over the bed and kind of create like a circular wind as you sleep, and it gets really cold actually. I had to turn mine off at night, so good to note. And of course, the Lapa villas, they've added as well. These each have their own plunge pool, which, if you've been to the South Peninsula, you know is very nice because it gets very hot and humid. And uh, similar to the Premier Villa, there's a living room, but it's closed off. So we can, if you have the Lapa Villa and maybe it's two adults with two kids, we can accommodate. There's a little bed here, but we can bring an additional one as well. Here's Frank, one of our favorite guides, doing the waterfall tour. Here's the classic safari type van that we have, or safari type truck, sorry. This is really great because Lapa Rios is focused on wildlife adventures, and you don't always want to be walking. You get really worn out. It's a hilly area and it's really hot. So when you go birding in the morning, you hop in here, and whenever you see something you like to check out, they'll stop the vehicle and take you over to the animals. So here's another one of the hikes that's really fun. It's a coastering tour. Basically go beach to beach and see some massive macaws, the lapas as I like to call them. And night hiking is really great here. A lot of endemic species you'll find, like the red-eyed frog, parrots, the titi monkey, and yeah, so that's it. Number one thing about Lapa Rios is it is a wildlife extravaganza. A lot of people who visit Lapa like to go see Corcovado National Park, and we can actually provide tickets to do that by boat, but they sell out very quickly. So it's important to note that if your travelers are going there, you need to request those passes to Corcovado Park in advance. And there's other types of excursions Lapa Rios can set up to visit the local community and, you know, other aspects as well.